most disappointing effort of the season for these guys. It's not a good time to do it, but quite obviously, I thought Georgia Southern, I mean, they really came to play. They played with a real sense of purpose. They were really prepared, and they deserve a lot of credit for the way the game went. And I think for our part, all year we've been in some games where we've gotten behind and weren't playing well, but we've always, in general, found a way to fight back and put ourselves in a position to win. And I think tonight was the first time that we really showed a lack of character when it came time to really fight. We didn't have a lot of fight tonight, so that was really disappointing. Again, I like our guys, I like our team, and I think when you get into the dog days of February and it's late, it's been a long year, and you got a lot of guys who, this is their first time in their careers that they've been playing this many minutes, this late into a season where you've got a winning team. When things weren't going our way, we just didn't have enough juice and enough determination to fight in a game that required a fight, because they brought it to us today, and it's a credit to them.
Questions?
Coach, in the first half, looks like there was a lot of quick shooting threes. Was that the game plan, or was that just they were just open looks just weren't going in?
I wouldn't necessarily say it's a game plan. We didn't go into the game saying, against Georgia Southern, we want to shoot a lot of quick threes. I thought they did a good job defensively, and we settled. When our first option wasn't there, they did a good job scouting what we do a little bit, and they gave us a little bit of resistance. And instead of getting to the second and third layer of what we do, we settled for a jump shot. Again, it just goes to just the effort and determination to play through some adversity. And the easy thing to do sometimes is shoot the ball. And so it wasn't necessarily a game, and we missed some of those. But I think even some of the open shots wind up being under duress when you're not really playing really hard. And I think there's always been a correlation between our defensive effort and our offensive output. And when we're not scoring, it affects our defense and vice versa. And I think that's what you were seeing there. It was really more of a byproduct of, poor effort on our part, really.
Avery, go ahead.
Coach, Georgia Southern shot 38 free throws compared to just 16 for you guys. Why is that your team kept fouling? Like, why couldn't you guys seem to draw fouls?
Well, defensively, fouling, guarding the dribble, has been a problem for us all year. It's been one of our weaknesses as a team, is that we're probably the worst team in the league in terms of fouling our opponents and putting them on the free throw line. So they took advantage of that. And one of the words that we used, from mid-season is that lack of discipline. I think more than anybody I've seen, somebody makes a shot fake, we jump in the air, and then guy drives and gets to the basket, get fouled. And then for our part, again, I think we settled for threes, and we didn't drive it enough, we didn't move it enough to create opportunities where we got fouled. That wasn't on the officials, that was just, they played better basketball than we did.
Coach, there are many important sequences in the game. What did you feel was game-changing? Because I know it was a 9-0 run to open the game, a point in the first half where you guys cut it to 2, and also a point and a half where Georgia Southern extended their lead to 14 with 2 fast break dunkers.
Yeah, I don't know if there was really any game-changing sequences. I think we got it to 3 in the second half, and we got the ball a couple times with a chance to cut it. We had it down 2 with a chance, but even if you take the lead or tie the game, you can be in games where you got the lead and you're still not winning. You know what I mean? Like when they were up 9-0, I didn't necessarily think we weren't going to get back in the game, and we got back into it. But they were winning the game, even when the score got closer. There was never a point when we were winning the game. So I don't know if there was any game-changing sequences in the game for us. Sometimes the score may have given the impression that we were more in the game than we really were.
You keep saying how much you like this team. Can you talk about what you're most confident about heading into March?
March is soon, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, March is a week away.
You know what, I just think as a coach, you get to this time of year and you gotta take it one day at a time. And I think the focus for us right now is, you know, we'll be off tomorrow. I'm gonna hit the road and go recruiting and try to get in the car and think a little bit, and come back for Tuesday with a real plan to compete and practice and prepare for our next opponent and learn from what we did or didn't do tonight. And we really have to think of it one practice, one game at a time right now. We've got senior night on Tuesday. It's going to be Dame's last game. It's going to be senior night for Chris Clerkley as well. And so we want to honor those guys with our effort. But Tuesday we need to come and have a really good practice. That's the most important thing right now.
Crawley had 18 and 8, and they kind of set the tone on the inside. Do you think that made a big difference in the game? Was just his work on both sides of the court in the paint?
Yeah, they had much more balance than we did. You know, we came into the year thinking that we wanted to be more balanced and get more production in the paint and get better. And that's an area where we'll be better at some point, and we got to grow there. But they got some veteran guys down there who are productive, good players. And we've got some guys who are older guys and a couple of young guys that they're still, you know, learning. And so those guys certainly took advantage of that, and it's a credit to them.
Coach, you have obviously, Little Rock coming in here on Tuesday. It's going to be a tough game. What's the message to the team to make sure that they're, after, a pretty, I would imagine emotional loss here today to a rival, to make sure you guys kind of come into the last game of the regular season with the right mentality?
I think we got to do what we do every game. Is we break the game down. We watch the film. We take from the game what we want to learn from it, and then we get on the practice floor and try to assess those things. So we always say the most important thing is ourselves, number one. And then after we've addressed that, we turn to our next opponent. And so I don't think from game to game, like when we win a game, we do the exact same thing. And we try to address the good and the bad so that we can get better. And when we lose a game, we have to be consistent with that approach, that we're going to assess it, try to improve, and move forward. And so this will be no different than, we were on a 3-game winning streak before we got on this 3-game losing streak, but we still approached each game the same way after that game and going into the next one.
So Coach, so because of this loss, you could essentially drop down to the number 5 seed and lose home court advantage. So what are you speaking to your team to be able to pick it back up?
Now, I'm not talking to them about seeding or anything. The only thing I'm talking to them about is practice on Sunday and then preparation for our next opponent, and then we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Coach, you mentioned being disappointed with the defensive effort tonight, but offensively the shooting numbers weren't exactly there either. 35% from the field and 31% from 3. Why do you think your guys weren't really able to get in the rhythm offensively tonight?
Well, I think some of the credit goes to Georgia Southern. I thought they did a great job. They were well prepared. They gave us some resistance. And like I said earlier, we didn't respond well to that resistance, and we settled for quick shots, and we didn't get good results, and it kind of snowballed that way. And then we had some spurts in the game where we shortened the lead, but we never changed the tenor of the game. And so I just think those numbers are just a byproduct of the way they control the game.
One last question.
Coach, one thing I've heard from Rick Barnes earlier this season is that you can't coach making shots, but how can you coach possibly better shot selection or better shot taking?
It's discipline and trust. Every coach is different, and you got to make a decision as a coach how much trust you're going to put into your players. And I think every coach wants their players to play with confidence, and then with that freedom comes a level of responsibility and discipline. And this is what we're trying to develop in our program. That I don't want guys looking over their shoulder at me, but I also want them to take the responsibility that I've got to do everything that goes into winning. And that's defensively, that's rebounding, that's sharing the basketball, that's execution. And again, I think a lot of times when you lose a game or you have a rough stretch, the narrative kind of winds up being the prevailing thought. But we've played 30 games. And we've had games where we've made 15 threes, and nobody was asking then why do you shoot so many threes? You know what I mean? So you got to take the good with the bad when you're trying to build. And today was representative of the bad.